Okay, so we have the politics of globalization. So to understand what globalization and politics is, we have to figure out where we started from. So the key ideas that we started with is respect and sovereignty. So with these ideas, we get the Treaty of Westphalia. With the Treaty of Westphalia, it came to be about because there was immense conflict in Europe. Everyone was invading each other, no one was respecting their neighbor, there was military action, there was religious conflict, so they needed to figure out a way to keep their nations their own and separate. So this is where we get the Treaty of Westphalia. With the Treaty of Westphalia, we get sovereignty. So sovereignty means that you are your own nation, entity, nation state, and me as my own separate nation has to respect you and your rules and what you do within your nation within reason. So I'm not allowed to invade your nation, you're not allowed to invade my nation. There are disputes on what sovereignty is supposed to be, but that is something different entirely. So then we have to look about where we are now. So now we are dealing with the politics of being connected. We're in a very globalized world, so everything that we do affects everything else in the world. So this goes into foreign policy, international relations, and the way that nations communicate with each other. So we have to worry about how the decisions that we make will affect Kenya or Europe in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So our policy decisions are very, very, very important and a very intricate system. With this, we also have to think about the politics of words. So what the media does, what news outlets are saying, what the press is telling people, social media in particular. With social media, it's a very interesting thing because you have connectivity to the entire world. So what someone else is saying in Russia at 2 p.m., you're seeing on your phone in Chicago on your couch. So you're getting global news from all around the world, and all that information is coming into your brain specifically. So globalization in politics is very, very, very intricate. It's like a fabric. You also have to think about who's running the world. So as of right now, we have global superpowers that are running the world. So the most powerful and the richest countries in the world are the ones that are deciding what we do next, what are our next steps. Then you have to think we're looking into the future. We have emerging leaders coming up. So if we flash into the future, if we don't change our policies as the United States is the way they are now, we're going to come into a lot of conflicts. And that doesn't mean that we're going to come into war conflicts specifically. We can come into conflicts that are like control disputes. So the United States holds a bunch of power at the table. Other nations, as we go through forward, they're not going to be okay with that. So they're going to want the United States to back off some more. So that means that we're going to have some compromise happening. And our stances on political issues and the way that we view the world seems to change with whoever our leader is. So if we get a leader or a president who's a little more inward and who is a little more my country first, then our policies will reflect this action. And that means our foreign policy will also reflect this action. And that means that the world will see us as more someone who's looking inward instead of outward. If we get a leader who is more for democracy and helping the world, then our policies will do the same and follow suit. We'll start to see collapses of international organizations. So with the EU, when Britain is trying to pull out of the EU, that's like pulling a string on a piñata. If you pull enough strings, the bottom's going to fall out, and then everything's going to destroy itself. So once Britain decides to pull itself out, then other countries will follow suit, and that organization is going to cripple and fall apart. The same thing can be said with the United Nations. If someone decides that they don't want to be in it anymore, and it is a powerful leader in particular, then everything will follow suit and everything will fall apart. We're also going to have competitions in all fields. So that's going to be technology, that's going to be in like an agricultural type thing, manufacturing, anything that produces a lot of money and it's very profitable to said nations. There's going to be a lot of competition in that for people that are trying to come together. We're also going to see the emerging superpowers that we will most definitely see is China specifically. China is going to become an emerging superpower. Their economy is booming. They have all the right things happening for them right now. They are going to be a leader in the world. India also has the possibility to become a global superpower. Their economy is booming, and a couple of stars have to align for that to happen. But in the future, I definitely see that China and India most definitely will be new players in the game. So we have to figure out ways to compromise and really work with them. The way that power shifts is a little interesting. So we have the United States and EU at the top. We have China, Russia, and India here, but this power is shifting upwards. And then we have a regional power, so Brazil, Japan, Gulf states, Mexico, South Africa. This is a little dated, but power still stays about the same. So as it moves up, it's also moving down. So we're going to have shifting and sliding within here. The United States probably will stay right where it is. We're not necessarily going to get weaker, but we're not going to get any stronger either, if that makes sense. So political globalization is our policies, the way we interact with the world, and then the way that things